run-out models go, the RS4 competition has an awful lot going for it, even though it's expensive at £84,600. There's also the somewhat thorny issue of it having no more power or torque than the regular RS4 on which it's based. But statistics can be deceptive because, as it turns out, Audi Sport has thrown the kitchen sink at the competition in order to A, justify its price, but also B, make sure the RS4 really does go out with a bang.
Well, let's see if they are telling the truth. Let's see how good the RS4 Competition Plus is to drive. So on the move, how different is the Competition RS4? Quite a lot in quite a few areas and not enough in one particular area. We'll come to that in a bit. What you really notice straight away is the suspension. The suspension on this RS4 competition really does feel just alive and touchy-feely and responsive and precise in a way that the standard RS4 never quite did. And I know a little bit about RS4s because I did run one for 6 months and loved it to bits mostly, but it always felt like quite a big barge. And that is what this competition suspension has almost sorted. The cabin still feels like a really lovely place. It always was a very nice driving environment, very high quality. They've kind of dialed up the sport bits, so these mega seats, really comfortable, really supportive seats. Love those. I also love this suede rim steering wheel. The exhaust definitely feels louder, but you need to put it in either RS1 or better still RS2 mode, which you do by pressing this button on the steering wheel. There you go. You do get some extra crackles and bangs. They reckon the exhaust gives the throttle a little bit more zip.
The competition's twin-turbo 2.9-litre V6 might not have any more poke than the regular RS4s, but its exhaust system, dual-clutch gearbox, ESC and rear differential have all been tickled to provide it with more edge and more personality, says Audi. At each corner sits a new 20-inch Y-spoke alloy wheel, and the competition gets Pirelli P0 Corsas as standard. Hence the reason its 0 to 62 time has dropped from 4.1 to 3.9 seconds, while the top speed has also risen to 180 miles an hour.
The gearbox is subtly different as well, and I'm not sure I fully go for that, because I always thought that the dual clutch in an RS4 was one of the great gearboxes, in a very subtle sort of way, but it would just change gears so fast and so quickly and so efficiently. You kind of think, is that an act of magic? You've still got that in the lower driving modes, but when you go into RS2, which is kind of full beans mode, and you go for an upshift, you get this deliberate kind of slight kick in the back. It's not a smooth shift, and I don't like that. I got exactly the same thing, but in comfort. Don't know if that comes across on the camera, but from where I'm sitting, those gear changes are just as fast, but they're smoother. I cannot see why you'd want to engineer in unsmoothness into a gear change, but anyway, they have. The bit I'm not totally convinced by, it's the engine. It's the same engine as you get in a regular RS4, which means 450 PS, 445 bhp, something like that. For me, for an 85 grand car version of the RS4 that has the word competition written after it in its name, I want a bit more poke, just a bit more. I mean, there is nothing wrong with the way this car goes. Look, it's a seriously rapid car in its own right, even if it does cost a heck of a lot of money.
The competition's suspension is also now fully adjustable, to a point where you can drop the ride height manually by a further 10 mil, and even adjust the bump and rebound characteristics of the dampers by hand if you're that way inclined. On the road, you're probably better off leaving things how they are and just adjusting the car via the dynamic drive button. But on a track, you might well want to get the toolbox out before a session, because despite its size and weight, on a track the competition is a surprisingly good thing to drive, even when you're wearing the world's weirdest crash helmet.
So here we go, on the track with the new RS4. The only thing that's different from this one and the one I've driven on the road is that they have just adjusted the suspension just to give it a little bit sharper, both bump and rebound, just that much more control, because they've dropped the ride height by 10mm, which you can do super simply. Just toolbox is in that glove box there, you just rotate a nut and you drop the thing by 10mm, and that obviously has a knock-on effect on the spring rate itself, and then you can adjust the dampers and you can tune the dampers into whatever circuit you're on. It's pretty cool, really. It's quite spotty for an Audi, but it's quite cool. So what do we think on the track? It's always going to feel like quite a big barge, is the Audi RS4, because it is. It's not as big as an M3 Touring though, that's going to weigh 1900 and something kilograms when it comes out. This thing it's still 1700 and something. So it's a big difference, but it's still going to feel big on a track, and it does. I do not like the way this gearbox works on full beans upshifts in the mode that they've put it into, which is basically everything dialed up to 11. You get this judder. I bet that even came through the camera slightly there. I don't know why it is, because it doesn't have to be there, and you put it in a different mode and it disappears, but there you go. Chassis wise, it's pretty damn good, this thing, it really is. I mean, there is a lot of weight wanting to change direction like that quite urgently, and you just feel it trying to kind of collapse over itself a bit at the back, but it doesn't, and it manages itself. It manages its weight really well, the RS4. And these coursers make a huge difference. They reckon this thing is just over 10 seconds quicker around the ring than the regular RS4, and I would say a good 6-ish seconds of that has to come from the tyres. Has to. Good steering though. I really do like this new steering system. Strong brakes. I wish it went a bit stronger. It's very rapid, but it's not kind of crikey, goodness me. It's not i4 M50 quick, put it that way. I like it though, I like it. It's not a natural born track car, but it doesn't fall to pieces on the track, and that is the main thing. You still enjoy this car on the track, but it is a road car, and that's where it does its best work, no question.
Bottom line, the RS4 competition really is a fine top note for the RS4 to go out on. It's expensive, yes, but it's also a good car that's been made great by Audi Sport. We will miss it badly when it's gone. Cheers for watching, and remember, if you like what you've just seen here, please subscribe.